welcome here to a very special wake-up call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Great Lakes Honda City coming to you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. You will find them Monday through Saturday for sales and service. And you'll also find that when you drive by their lot now, they got a bunch of cars that are flying off of it. So get yourself to Great Lakes Honda City now. As the weather has broken into spring, people are going out and choosing their vehicles. They want to feel good in them. They want to be able to travel in the nice weather. So do not miss out on new and used vehicles, Great Lakes Honda City. And you could go and get a sneak peek of what they have by going to greatlakeshondacity.com. I am here picture in picture with Ross Turetsky, my brother in the world of life, my brother in the world of sports as a fellow broadcaster and writer, and somebody who, if I had a mother that gave me a brother, it still wouldn't be as good as this brother that I found right here. And shout out to Miriam, who's one of the best moms out there, along with my mom. So with that being said, Ross Turetsky and I are breaking down the 2025-26 NFL schedule release, which, as Ross told me pre-show, will only cost you over $1,000 if you watch every game. Ross, how are we doing?
Doing very well. Thanks for having me on. And as we were joking, people complained DirecTV was like, what, $300-$400 for the whole season. Now,
yeah,
it's astronomical. That's never mind if you actually want to go to a football game, which my wife and I used to like to go to one Steeler game in Pittsburgh. Then we'll probably go to the one in Jersey because it's right nearby. Opening day is Steelers at Jets. You might see Aaron Rodgers versus Justin Fields, the former Steeler and Jets battling each other. But yeah, it's very expensive. The tickets are astronomical when you get in there. The merchandise, the snacks, all of it's a lot of money. Parking is out of control. But that's if you just want to go to a game. But then just to stay at home on your recliner where you have all your snacks and you're chilling, relaxing with friends and family to watch every single football game with all the streaming services would be, I think, $1,300 for the whole 2025 season, which is just insane.
Yeah.
It's just going to get worse. They have the YouTube Sunday ticket package now. There's going to be a game on regular YouTube TV to start the season on Friday with Chiefs and Chargers. There's Peacock. If you don't have regular TV and you've cut the cord like we have, NBC, you got to watch with Peacock. Paramount Plus for CBS. At some point, Fox is going to get a regular streaming service. They haven't quite had that yet. I know they're with Hulu and Disney and all that, but they don't have their football games on the streaming services yet. But there's ESPN Plus for some of the Monday Night Football games. It's just crazy, and I don't know. I think they're kind of pricing out, like a lot of sports, unfortunately, a lot of the average Joes and the family of four like we have,
yeah,
2 kids who might want to go to a game, whether in attendance or watch a game, or just be able to watch all your favorite games at home. It's getting out of control, and it's going to be hard to be able to foot the bill soon and still have a normal life with all the other expenses in this wild world. So I wish it was a little bit better, but I think it's going to get worse before it gets better, because I think down the road, it's eventually going to be a Super Bowl. There's already some playoff games on streaming services. I think eventually we're going to get a Super Bowl on a streaming service. And if you don't have it, it's going to be tough luck, unfortunately. And Amazon Prime is another one that you have to have for Thursday night football games. Yeah. They have a playoff game on Amazon Prime. My wife's Steelers took on the Ravens on Amazon Prime in their first round playoff game last year. It's a lot, but I am excited. Football schedule's released last Wednesday. It is like another version of Christmas where you get to kind of figure out what games you can go to, what games you might want to watch. I was looking at Jaguar games because I know Travis Hunter and all the excitement with that. I know you'll be covering some of those games. And then Jets Steelers to kick off the season in Jersey. Very pumped for that. So we were breaking that down. And then my wife's Steelers, if we can find a way to afford it, don't know if we can. They're going to be playing in Ireland late September, right before my birthday. That'd be a cool one against the Vikings. So a lot of cool things to look forward to this football season.
Yeah, no, it's going to be fun, but you got to have Amazon Prime and Apple TV Plus and Paramount Plus and Peacock and Netflix and YouTube TV. And then you have to have normal cable kind of ish maybe, or if you just have YouTube TV, but then you have to have to me, it's so stupid. I mean, Thursday Night Football is Amazon Prime. If you don't have Amazon, then you don't watch Thursday Night Football. And so it's funny because I thought to myself, like, well, what am I going to do? And then Thursday I'll roll around and I'm like, I guess I'm not watching the game. You know, I mean, if they had a Super Bowl on something that I don't have, let's say they do the Super Bowl on Fubo TV. Well, I already pay for YouTube, so have a great time. I guess I'm going to the Wildcat or Pizza Man to go
But
watch
you
the
would
Super
feel the
Bowl.
pressure because
Yeah.
you'd feel like you're missing out on all the goofy, funny commercials, the who's singing the national anthem, who's messing up the halftime show,
Yeah.
or what kind of message is being done. You would feel like you're missing out. That FOMO, the fear of missing out, and I think that's very real. So yeah, unless you go to a sports bar and there might be a cover charge, so
Yeah.
they could get that streaming service and pay for it, you're gonna kind of be pushed, and you're gonna kind of get your arm twisted. So you buy these streaming services one way or another, so you
Yeah.
can watch these games and feel like you are part of the conversation, or you're gonna feel like you're in a darkness retreat with Aaron Rodgers deciding, can I play for the Steelers, or am I gonna retire, or I'll just stay in this darkness retreat for the next year plus. Who knows? So
Yeah.
very possibly that's what your life will be if you choose not to be with the rest of the world and go to these streaming services. You're going to be in your own perpetual, never-ending darkness retreat, and that kind of stinks as a sports fan.
Well, and the thing is you just become the grouping of, right? You become the, okay, you got this streaming service, I got this one, let's all share. I mean, it become I'll log into mine. It becomes ridiculous.
But they have gone
too.
smart with that, because I first admit I've committed the crime, and I usually am not the one who's taking
Don't
it. I'm
out
usually
yourself.
sharing it.
Don't
I'm
out
sharing
yourself.
with you and with my family, and now a lot of times that's not being allowed. Or they say you could add another account for extra money.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to have to pay extra money when I'm offering this service. I'm trying to be a good friend, trying to be a good family member. I was giving Netflix away, Disney Plus away. I still give away some of that stuff. I'm first to admit, I'm not shy about it. I'm giving it away, but they've gotten smart about it. They've cracked down on it. First it was in other countries, now it's here. So a lot of times you can't even share the accounts anymore because they've gotten smart about it. And if you do want to share it, you're going to have to pay extra money to get an extra account for your friends. So, either way, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. I try to be a good person, and they're like, no, you're ruining the company. I think the company will survive one way or another.
Oh, yeah.
But Netflix, all of them, they're all cracking down on it. So
Disney.
good luck trying to share that.
Disney's going to survive because Disney used to charge. I got the first 3 years of Disney Plus
Yeah,
for $140 total.
that's a good deal.
Then Disney said, "Oh, you could pay $140, but it's going to be for 1 year, not 3, and we're going to give you commercials." And so they started adding all this stuff. Then I bought Disney and Hulu, and then Disney Plus was like, "Oh, we're going to put Hulu on Disney Plus." And I'm like, "Well, then why am I paying for this?" And Disney's like, "Okay, it's going to be $9.99. Oh, you know what? We saw that, life is difficult, so we got to go to $10.99 and all this stupid stuff that they're doing." These digital companies that have continued to build and build and build their people, I don't understand the price hike. Zoom went from $14.99 to $15.99. Now they want to go to $16.99, and they send you an email and they go, "Oh, just the times are tough in the world," and that you're digital. I mean, we're using your digital service. All you just send us a message and say, we have 1 million clients. If we charge you each $1 more a month, we're going to make $1 million more a month. Just tell us the truth instead of saying that it's a tough road. Because when I detached from cable was $70. It was $69.99 a month. And I got YouTube TV. And YouTube TV was like $62.99 a month. Now YouTube is $82.99 a month.
Yeah.
So now I'm paying more for YouTube than I was paying for basic cable. And then if you add in Peacock and all this other stuff, I tell people all the time, if you don't have friends and family and y'all don't share with each other, you're spending like $300 a month just to watch. I got one show here. I got one show there. I want to watch my sports games. I want to do this.
There's a lot of good shows on every different streaming service. You can't just get one. There's bundles, and then there's a better deal after you already got one bundle, so you're kind of screwed over. And I finally cut the cord a year ago from the regular cable. You were lucky with what you had. There was only $70 a month. We had internet with our cable, with Comcast cable. It was getting over $300 a month.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
So we still have Comcast for our internet. But now I cut the cord. It's still a little cheaper, but it's still not a big savings because I can watch every kind of show that I like and sporting event. Yeah. I do. I have Peacock. I have Amazon Prime. I have Paramount Plus. I have all of them. Hulu on Disney Plus I have now. But and now ESPN is going to come out with their own streaming service if you don't have regular cable. Because for a little while I tried ESPN Plus, which I thought was kind of a ripoff because not all their programming, all their shows and their live sport events were not on ESPN Plus. You would think they would.
No.
Some of it was on. You get ESPN Plus on Disney Plus.
They were using the stuff that they didn't put on TV. So the plus should be that you get everything and the stuff that's not on television. They were doing the opposite. They're like, it was essentially like ESPN the Ocho was ESPN Plus. Was like all the games that were not going to show. Like basically what they did was all the conferences they didn't respect. They would put like the ACC, the SEC, the Big 10, the Big 12 on ESPN and ESPN2. And then if it was like the NEC or Conference USA or the Sun Belt or the Big West or whatever.
The Ivy League, I saw there was
the
stuff
Ivy League, they would
there,
put them all on ESPN Plus. They would move everybody to ESPN Plus so that ESPN could say, hey, we have everybody and we're showing everyone. But essentially they would disrespect a Binghamton and say, Syracuse, you're on ESPN. Binghamton, you're on ESPN Plus. But then if you bought ESPN Plus, you didn't get Syracuse. And then even if you bought ESPN Plus or CBS Network or any of these places, you would be on the internet and you would finally get through and get to the game that's not on normal television, go to watch it, and it would say it's blacked out in your area. How can you black out something on the internet?
Well, baseball does it all the time. As
So
a diehard
stupid.
baseball fan,
But it's
they
like
constantly have local
how can they regard
blackouts.
your area? I was down in Florida trying to watch UConn Syracuse football, and it said it's blacked out in your area. I was like, but I'm on the internet. And if you look at my IP address, like, I mean, what does it matter where I am in the moment? Like, I'm on the internet. The internet should allow me to see anything anywhere at any given time. I shouldn't be, like, you don't say we black this out on local television in St. Augustine, so then it's blacked out on the internet. If you black it out on television on cable, then it's on the internet. The whole point of the internet was to be able to show you everything that's not shown on television. And when I jumped through all these hoops, they're like, yeah, we blacked the game out on the internet. And I was like, then what's the point of buying CBS Sportsnet? Like,
well, yeah,
it just doesn't make
well,
sense.
it annoyed me because I got ESPN Plus because I was trying to watch the college football playoffs with Notre Dame and Penn State and all those big matchups early this year. And my kids, of course, want to watch their kid TV shows, which are annoying, but I get that's what they want to watch, keeps them happy. So I do that. I get ESPN Plus on a trial basis. And I click on it. I'm like, oh, if the game's on ESPN, so it must be on ESPN Plus. No, college football playoffs were not on ESPN Plus. And then the same thing, Paramount Plus will show you some NFL games on regular Paramount Plus. But if you wanted to watch like a college football game on Paramount Plus that was on CBS, they were like, you had to get Paramount Plus with Showtime. You had to get the extra package that has Showtime Paramount Plus. That's the only way you could get the college football playoffs and all the games that were on regular CBS that you could watch on Paramount Plus. And then ESPN Plus, most of their games, it was what you were saying, it's mostly additional games. The college football playoffs, not any of them were on streaming networks. If you didn't have a cable provider or went to a sports bar, you were out of luck. Yeah. And I had to just follow the game on like Yahoo Sports to look for score updates for the Penn State Notre Dame playoff game. You could not go on ESPN Plus, even though it's ESPN, the game's on ESPN, but they're still like, nope. So allegedly this new ESPN, which is at least going to be $25 a month, I'm sure it will increase over time. Yeah. This will have everything from internet and the current ESPN with what's on actual television, and you can buy that per month if you don't have cable. So that's coming. But would that have made sense if ESPN Plus would have been that streaming service already?
Well, the whole point of the Plus, the whole point of the Plus is to have everything and more.
Yes.
It's supposed
but
to
ESPN
be
Plus just gave you the additional a la carte items, and now this new ESPN that's going to be more money is going to have everything.
So what you essentially had was ESPN minus.
Yes, it was garbage, so I canceled it right away. They let me have it for a month trial, and I'm like, I'm never doing this again. This is a waste of time. I wanted to watch the football game. They won't even let me watch it.
Did they send you an email?
Willing to pay for it.
Did they send you an email saying we're really sorry about this?
Oh no, they should have. Yeah, the Alamo Billy Bob Thornton fame. Yes, it was the most annoying thing ever. The only cool thing about this new ESPN though, I did hear about, is Rich Eisen is actually going to make a return to ESPN. He will still have his coverage of NFL Network that he does, but his Rich Eisen radio simulcast TV show that used to be on DirecTV on the Audience Network, and it's been on like Peacock and other streaming services. It's going to come to this new ESPN package, and it'll be on regular TV and on this ESPN streaming service. So technically, and he'll do other things for the network. Rich Eisen, I wish it was the great Stuart Scott. Him and Rich Eisen were amazing in the 90s together. As cool as The Other Side of the Pillow. Rest in peace. He's been gone for 10 years. He was amazing, Stuart Scott. Him and Rich Eisen had such great chemistry. I wish there was a way they could still be doing it all these years later. But Rich Eisen will be coming to the network once again on ESPN after leaving the network to go to NFL Network about 20 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, my favorite duo of all time is Rich Eisen and Stuart Scott when it comes to sports broadcasting. So, looking at this NFL schedule, I want to get into, since we talked about all these streaming services, let's discuss the fact that one of those streaming services is helping the NFL schedule. They couldn't be getting any type of kickback or aid or any type of positive programming because, I mean, if you use a company to help you make the schedule, they couldn't possibly use it when they're also a part of the schedule, could they? I mean, I don't know. Let's just figure this out and break it down. I'm being facetious, which is also called being sarcastic. And if you don't know what that means, then God bless your heart. You should figure it out. The 2025-26 NFL schedule is powered by Amazon. Amazon Web Services, AWS. It will feature each team playing 17 regular season games, 3 preseason games for the 5th consecutive year. The 17th game will feature teams from opposing conferences that finished in the same standing within their respective divisions the previous season. The AFC will be the home conference for the 17th game in 2025, and the NFL uses Amazon Web Services to power its scheduling process. There are approximately a quadrillion possible schedule combinations each NFL season and over 26,000 factors to take into consideration, such as stadium availability, travel requirements, primetime games, competitive fairness, and divisional rivalries. The NFL uses Amazon Web Services to run high-performance computing workloads to find the best possible schedule each year to do this. So Amazon has Amazon Prime, who does Thursday Night Football.
They should get some better Thursday night games, though. That's the other thing. Sometimes the quality is not as good just because they're tired. It's a short week. But I find a lot of the Thursday night games are horrible matchups. Right. Even Al Michaels is roasting his own streaming network, saying that he's about to fall asleep on these games. And I know he's over 80 years old, but him and Kirk Herbstreit sometimes are saddled with the most boring games possible. So you would think if they're helping design the schedule, they could at least kick back a few fun games and good games on Amazon Prime. I know from one year to the next, some teams are good one year and they're bad the next. But Amazon Prime, Al Michaels destroys his own network saying how bad some of these games are. So I'm at least hoping Thursday Night Football has some better matchups this year.
Yeah, so, but again, streaming services, Amazon helping. I don't see how that could not help out Amazon potentially. So as we look at everything here, the NFL's 106th season. And Amazon, I appreciate you. I love you for the stuff you get to my house. I really do. But if you think that we don't think that you're trying to take over the world, I'm paying attention. Now,
oh, they definitely are. And it's never going away because I'm one of the laziest people out there when it comes to buying stuff. I don't have, and that's why, unfortunately, a lot of stores go out of business. I don't have to leave my house with young kids to go to a store anymore to buy stuff for them or for my wife or for my family. I can just go on Amazon in the middle of the night. I can go shopping. And it comes to me in like 2 days. So that's where I do most of my shopping. Do I feel guilty a little bit? Yeah, because it probably destroys a lot of local mom and pop businesses, but it's never going away. So Amazon really is taking over the world.
Yeah, they're out all the time at all times of the day. It's like the Amazon, I mean, I'm paying attention. So, like, the NFL working with Amazon.
My Alexa is paying attention because we're talking right now. I have an Alexa up ahead, and the thing is ringing like crazy just because we're talking about the Big Brother company right up there. Oh, yeah. It's very much like the 1984 novel. That thing is going crazy. It's listening to everything we're saying because we're talking about Jeff Bezos and Amazon. So, very much so, they are tuning into everything that once you have that in your house, they know everything that's going on in your house. Well, so you got to be careful with that.
I will say this, because we all know that our phones listen to us. There's this really crazy thing where I was speaking with Alexa, and so I asked her something about the Toronto Raptors, and she said, "I don't know that one. Would you like me to get my friend Cortana to help?" Now, Cortana is HP. Alexa is Amazon. They're both artificial intelligence. The fact that they know each other should terrify you. And I also wanted to know, is Siri just like somebody that they don't like chilling with? Like, is she? So I stood in front of my Amazon device in my house, and when she said, "I don't know that, do you want me to get Cortana?" I was like, you girls know each other? I was like, you're not supposed to.
They're like your exes. They're talking trash
They're
behind your
not
back. They
supposed
know
to
all.
know each other. That's the
They
whole
know
point
all
of this.
that dirt. They know how to spill the tea, so they're gonna definitely do that.
So
you gotta be careful.
let's spill the tea on the season. Let's show what the season looks like. 106th season for the NFL. It'll begin with the league's annual primetime kickoff game. Super Bowl defending champion Philadelphia Eagles will host the Dallas Cowboys at Lincoln Financial Field on Thursday, September 4th. Not good for the Cowboys, great for Philly. On Friday, September 5th, for the second season in a row, we will have a Friday night regular season game, and that is also going to be where it was last year in Sao Paulo, Brazil. And it was the Eagles and the Packers last year. Now it's the Chiefs and the Chargers, which will be in Corinthians Arena in Sao Paulo, Brazil, the second ever regular season NFL game to be played in South America. It will mark the first NFL game to be streamed live and for free, exclusively on YouTube. Now, week one can enjoy that I said free, because they're not going to be doing a lot of that apparently.
Well, let's also see if it's like Netflix. Are we gonna have buffering issues though? Because a lot of football fans will be pissed off come that Friday night of the first Friday of the season. If they have buffering and glitches, people are gonna be complaining. So hopefully it goes off without a hitch. But we've already seen Netflix have some trouble with some of their live feds. If you remember the Mike Tyson fight from last November with Logan Paul, that was horrible. Every 5 seconds it was glitching.
Yeah. So just make sure, folks, that you are ready and make sure that your internet is running well, because we all know that those internet services are interesting at times. Week one will continue on Sunday, September 7th. 3 divisional games in the 1 p.m. window. The Bucs will take on the Falcons, the Bengals and the Browns, and the Commanders and the Giants. 6 of the 8 teams participating in the late window on kickoff weekend, presented by YouTube TV. Won at last 10 games last season on Fox at 4:05 p.m. Eastern Time. It'll be Broncos-Titans, and then we'll see the Niners and the Seahawks. CBS at 4:25 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll see the Lions, the Packers, and the Rams will also take on the Texans. And then on Sunday Night Football on NBC, we'll see the Ravens face the Bills to start the
That's
season.
That's going to be a great matchup.
That's normally a game that they will save.
Playoffs.
Yeah, no, I mean, normally they'll save that for week 7, week 12, late in the season. We're going to see the Ravens and the Bills. Someone's going to come out of this with a loss unless they play too long and it ends in a tie. But we're looking at one of these teams going to be 0-1 coming out of week 1 in a Sunday Night Football prime time game.
Well, that's just a great way to come out of the gate. You have Lamar Jackson, who's won a bunch of MVPs. A lot of people thought he should have won again last year. Josh Allen won the MVP. They came so close to go into the Super Bowl. They have to get over the hump against the Chiefs in the AFC. That's always tough to do. The Bills at home knocked off the Ravens last year in the divisional round, the second round. But then you had the controversial ref calls with the Chiefs and Bills in the championship game. And then we know the Eagles blew out the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. But because of that Bills-Chiefs game, I think starting this year, they're doing what the XFL, which is now the UFL, is doing. They're going to have like a computer thing to make sure they actually can line up, is it a first down? They're not just going to have referees just guessing along the sidelines. They're going to actually have the technology, which is great in 2025. That's going to be able to tell you, is it a first down or not? Because I still contend Josh Allen had a first down, and the NFL really wanted Kansas City in the Super Bowl, so that was taken away while they went to commercial break. So now we're going to apparently have that fixed. But, yeah, that's a great game coming out of the gate. Buffalo and Baltimore, you can't beat that.
And it makes absolutely no sense. First time ever in the history of anything football related that I've seen them go to commercial when they're deciding a first down and then come back and go, oh, yeah, while you were gone, we figured it out. And by the way, Joe Theismann, who has broken a bunch of exclusives on my broadcast before, he also said to me before any of this happened that he has a buddy who created the chip that goes inside of the football, and that chip is supposed to digitally be able to tell you if it's a first down or not, and the NFL was looking at the opportunity of utilizing that as it can be technology utilized in other places. Now, going throughout this season, so shout out to Theismann once again for coming through, and I appreciate our friendship. ESPN will televise one game each Monday night, weeks 1 through 17. It'll be simulcast on ABC in weeks 1 through 3, 5, 7 through 11, and week 14. Weeks 2 and 7, there will be 2 Monday night games. Weeks 4 and 6, there will be 2 Monday night games, and we're going to see them at different times. So weeks 2 and 7, the games will be at 7 and 10. Weeks 4 and 6, they will actually fight each other airing at 7:15 and 8:15. Additionally, ESPN and ABC will air 2 games with playoff implications on the Saturday of Week 18, January 3rd at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time and at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. These games will be selected following the conclusion of Week 17. As you know, whoever you're a fan of, the Week 18 matchups are all TBD. None of them are time scheduled. The matchup is there, but it is not time scheduled because they want to be able to see which of these games is going to have playoff implications. So we'll see what that schedule is going to be. Now, Thursday night, which will be exclusively on Prime Video, owned by Amazon again, will kick off in Week 2 with Jordan Love and the Packers hosting Jaden Daniels and the Commanders. And the Prime Video will broadcast 15 Thursday night football games between Weeks 2 to 17, excluding Thanksgiving night and including Christmas. It'll exclusively stream the 3rd annual NFL Black Friday game when the Eagles will host the Bears in Week 13. For the 2nd consecutive season, Netflix will stream 2 NFL games on Christmas Day in Week 17. Cowboys will take on the Commanders when they go on the road, and the Vikings will host the Lions. Netflix will stream at least 1 holiday game in 2026. So, Ross, we are seeing Prime very much involved. I can't understand why, since they helped with the scheduling. And also seeing the fact that Netflix, for the 2nd year in a row, will be involved, and we know at least they will be involved in 2026 in some capacity. Thoughts on that? And to be completely honest, do I watch Netflix? Yeah, but on Christmas Day, I could care less what stream it's on. I'm going to be doing this crazy thing, which is celebrating Jesus' birthday and hanging out with my family. So
you can still have the game on in the background, because last year my wife's favorite team's the Steelers. They got embarrassed by the Chiefs on Christmas Day. It was on Netflix. We had the game on in the background, and we watched it. We were still doing all the family stuff, opening presents, having Christmas dinner, and all that stuff. And I know I'm Jewish, so to me, Christmas still blows my mind. I'm not used to it. I feel out of place. I feel like a Lilo and Stitch live action movie comes out this weekend. I feel like I'm Stitch in real life when it's Christmas Day, because I feel out of place. Because I grew up my whole life not celebrating the holiday, going to Chinese buffets and going to movies, because that was the only thing open on Christmas Day for us Jewish people. So it's still weird for me. But we still watch the football games. It was a snooze fest. And then the other game was even worse. The best thing, I guess, was the Beyonce Cowboy Carter halftime show, because the Texans got obliterated by the Ravens in the 2nd game last year on Christmas. So, you hope they're not blowouts. I'll still watch them, even if they're just in the background while we're doing other things and spending quality family time. And now we got a 3rd Christmas game, which is on Amazon Prime, just like Black Friday has. And really, the NFL has pretty much said this. They want to compete. Christmas used to always, besides family stuff, it was supposed to be the day of the NBA. The NBA, finally, people, even though it started in the middle of October, people got really invested in what's going on in the basketball season on Christmas Day, where they had basketball all day long. You'd have the primetime matchups where you'd have Shaq and Kobe, you'd have Michael Jordan, you'd have all the stars, LeBron James. And now they still have the NBA on Christmas Day. The NFL, who rules the world any day they play, they want to take that over. They've already gotten Black Friday now. Now they want to have 3 NFL games on Christmas Day. So the entire day, there will be football games on Christmas Day. Not just 1, not just 2. They want to take over every single day and make it appointment viewing. So I find that interesting that the NBA is no longer king of Christmas Day for sporting events. Now the NFL has pretty much said, we want to corner the market. It's our day. And pretty much whatever they say goes, because the NFL is king. No matter what they do, no matter what controversy, the NFL is still going to make their money, and they're still going to be the premier sport in the United States and throughout most of the world.
Yeah,
and we just talked about before we got on, they're even going to have flag football in the Olympics starting 2028 in Los Angeles. Maybe that's not a big deal for most people, but the NFL players will be allowed to participate for all the different countries, whatever countries they're from. A lot of them are in the United States, and there's a lot of actual flag football players who are very annoyed by this, because they're like, they've been doing this for a while in different teams and stuff, and now these NFL players out of nowhere are like, you're a superstar, I'm Justin Jefferson, I'm Pat Mahomes, I'm going to get a spot over you, and they've been doing this for a while, flag football players, and the NFL players are going to step in and take over because of their name recognition. The only caveat I would say is, wait until someone gets hurt. If a star player gets hurt, even playing flag football, which you think, you can't get hurt, anything could happen. They used to have Pro Bowl games back in when they had the games in Hawaii. And I remember, like, I think his name was Robert Edwards, a running back for the Patriots in like the late 90s, early 2000s. He was doing like a two-hand touch flag football game on the beach. He ended up, like, I think, rupturing his knee, and it was a horrible injury. He was out for the whole next season. So, I don't root for this, but all it takes is one premier player to get hurt in not meaningless, but not as important as your NFL season in a flag football game, even though you represent your country, so that's meaningful. You have USA on the chest in the Olympics. But if you get hurt doing that and not be able to play the following season, there's going to be a lot of upset football fans and owners paying the check, saying, I pay you to play for my team, and not getting hurt playing flag football.
Yeah, and now that flag football is going to accept NFL, then, Antonio Brown, Plaxico Burress, Terrell Owens, Chad Ochocinco, if we just talk about wide receivers, they could be finding their way back to the game. The NFL has scheduled 7 international games, the most ever in a season, and in a crazy fashion, they're all Jaguars. I'm kidding. But
there's the Dublin, Ireland game. Yeah. I know the Steelers and Vikings.
But we know that the Jaguars have been overseas more than anybody else. So when I see 7 international games, I'm like, oh, are they all Jacksonville? So
they always play at least 1 or 2. I know the Jets are playing a game, I think, against the Broncos in England. So there's games in Germany now, Mexico City, all around the world. The thing I ask you, though, is I know Roger Goodell says his dream would one day to have an NFL team actually play like in England or whatever, that there's an actual team or multiple teams, maybe that's a European division or a European conference, that one day will truly be global, not just a few teams playing there once a year. He wants to see actual teams where their host city and they play all their home games are in European countries. Will we see that in our lifetime? It's very possible. That's apparently one of the dreams, to really globalize the game. I know the NBA, Adam Silver, their commissioner, has talked about this. Baseball commissioner Rob Manfred has talked about this. So a lot of these sports teams, they keep wanting to expand all these different international places. For all we know, one day the Super Bowl, this big American, gigantic behemoth sporting event, that might take place in Brazil or in England or Germany. Who knows? It sounds sacrilegious. Because it's American.
No.
What's to put it past Roger Goodell and the NFL owners?
No.
If they're offering a certain amount of money, anyone or anything could be bought. You never know.
Then you know what I want? Okay, here's my thing. Here's my caveat, and you opened me up to it. I didn't have this idea until I had this idea. Here's my idea. Here is what I want. Since the NFL is willing to go all over the world and bring their games there to Wembley Stadium and do all this stuff, because soccer is the football everywhere else in the world, this is what I want. You can have one of these games, 7 of them. You can have a primetime whatever game you want. But I want Manchester City versus Manchester United in America. I want Chelsea in America. I want FC Barcelona in America. I want AC Milan in America. And how about this? Every 4 years, no matter who is hosting the World Cup, no matter where the World Cup is, here's my caveat to the world. You can have big time games, a playoff game, whatever, but I want a World Cup game here in America every 4 years. How about that?
Every 4 years.
Since we're giving them, I'm not saying the World Cup championship because I'm not giving up the Super Bowl, but here's my thing. If we are willing to go all over the world, then I want at least one primetime matchup World Cup game to come to America, to come to the States every 4 years, because that's the equivalent of what America is giving the world. Look at the games that are going to be here. So there's 6 of them that are going to be exclusively televised on NFL Network, and then 3 games are going to be in the UK, 1 in Brazil. The NFL will play its first regular season game in 3 new cities in 2025. They'll be in Germany, but Berlin for the first time. They'll be in Dublin, Ireland, which is where college football played last year. They will also be in Madrid, Spain. Shout out to my other home. As part of the league's expansion of the regular season of 17 games, it was determined that beginning with the 2022 season, teams from the conference whose teams were eligible for a 9th regular season home game would be among the designated group to play a neutral site. So there is a method to the madness. Jacksonville gives it up all the time, but taking a look at this, once again, beginning with the 2022 season, it was determined that a team from a conference whose teams were eligible for a ninth regular season game.
You got to make it worth their
be,
while,
be
because I get
rotation.
that they get the extra home game. Some years you only get 8, and other years you get 9. Right now you only have it's 17 games. It's an odd number. Right. I know at some point the owners want it to be 18 games, and they will have a fight about that at some point. And if I had to guess, that will eventually happen. They're just going to have to compensate the players in other ways and increase the pot of money that they share. It's going to go down to 18 games at some point, because I think the ultimate goal is, how everyone complains that the NFL Super Bowl should be a national holiday, or people are hungover, a very unproductive call from work the next day on that Monday. Well, a lot of people are off the Monday of President's Day. If they get that extra week, you have 2 bye weeks in the season. Yeah. Then the NFL Super Bowl, the big extravaganza, could end that Sunday, and then you have Monday off of President's Day the following day. So that's how you solve that, where a lot of people call off anyway the day after the Super Bowl. I think that's where we're heading to anyway. But yeah, I was always wondering why some of these major teams that, it's one thing, the Jaguars have had a lot of bad seasons, so maybe their owner doesn't mind giving up a home game, and they have to compensate them in some way, because you're losing a home game with your fans and revenue. So I'm assuming the NFL has to cut them in on some of that money. I know they share the big pot of TV money, now streaming money, the owners around the NFL. That's why you have parity in the NFL. A little market like Green Bay, Wisconsin can compete with New York and LA and all the major markets. So, yeah, they have to make it worth their while. But my biggest thing was, I know a lot of people always accuse the Jaguars, their owner would love to leave Jacksonville, but you've said that that's far from the truth, that they're putting money into the stadium. Yeah. They're putting money to
They're
keep
doing
the
an
team
over $1 billion deal. Like, they have an over $1 billion renovation. So, I mean, it's like I tell people this all the time. Everyone can speak about something from the outside, millions of miles away.
But they don't know what they're talking about.
But when you cover the Jaguars and you're physically on site for the better part of 13 years, you can see what they're doing. I can speak to what Jacksonville looked like over a decade ago. I could speak to what the stadium looked like, what the area around the stadium looked like. They're not only building up the stadium, they're building out the surrounding area. They're putting homes there. They're putting apartments there. They're putting new hotels there. They've changed the highway system around the stadium. Everything that they have done there for Jacksonville, if they were to uproot the team, you're talking about billions of dollars that would be gone, and everything that's been built surrounding the stadium would be surrounding no man's land, and it would make no sense for the city. I mean, they're trying to make this city raise itself, and one of the big reasons, the big reason why they're raising it is because they have an NFL franchise, and they approved the money to do something like this. So, I mean, to be completely honest, anyone that has come up to me to say that Jacksonville is leaving, it's idiotic, because it's people following a talking head who said something out of their butt on a TV show or radio show, when you're physically on the ground saying, if Jacksonville was leaving, why did they put in millions upon millions of dollars over the last decade, and now they're putting billions on top of millions? This would be one of the dumbest financial moves by anybody ever for Shad Khan to say, yeah, let me dump all this money here and the city dump all this money here. And keep in mind, when they got the video boards and they did all these renovations to the stadium, that cost tens of millions of dollars. And now they're taking that tens of millions of dollars that they added to the stadium and adding over $1 billion to renovate the stadium. So we're not even looking at $1 billion situation. We're looking at a situation that has been tens of millions over the years, that has already been renovated before, and now it's being renovated again in a bigger way. So, I mean, to leak all that money into the city and then leave would make no sense.
Yeah, and I think that's just the simplistic view that some people have who, as you said, aren't on the ground like you covering games. They just see that 1 or 2 games a year they just give away to international games in other cities and other countries, and they just figure that, that's the end game, that Jacksonville's a little place they're trying to leave. But my question to you is, can you see a time in the near future, or at some point, I would say at some point, I don't say near future, that we're going to have an actual 1 or 2 NFL teams that actually their home base is in a European city or international city? And if so, one day maybe we'll have a division or a conference just of European teams, and then eventually whoever wins that as the best European team will go off and play the American teams in a playoff situation. Can you see that somewhat on the horizon in the NFL?
I mean, I would love to see the French baguettes play the German schnitzels, but I mean, that would be amazing to me. But I think that we're going to see teams in Europe? No. Do I think if the NFL was to go international, I think the NFL would probably maybe toy with Mexico first. They're not going to go with Canada because the CFL is there. So, we're not going to see something like that. But I feel like they would try and stay within certain confines. You have to keep in mind that when teams go 3 hours West Coast, East Coast, or East Coast, West Coast, when you're doing that 3-hour trip and there's jet lag, when you're going from the NFL here in America, you're going overseas to Spain. We're talking about a 6-hour trip, a 9-hour trip, a 7-hour trip.
You imagine the jet lag, how tired you and exhausted.
I just did it. I mean, from New York City to Rome is 7.5 hours. So
I imagine it probably took you a while to get used to things back at home. Once you got back from that, it was a fun trip, I'm sure. But to come from Italy, now go back home and readjust to normal life, that takes a while. And you're going to at least have to give them a bye week the following week. Most of the time when they play these international games, the next week they're off. There's a bye week. But I did see there are some teams that aren't, again, like the Steelers, I think, played the Ireland game, like their 4th game of the season, and then they have a bye week. But then they have to play the rest of the season, like 12 straight games with no days, with no weeks off. So they get the bye week early right after the European trip. But then they play a lot of games, a grueling schedule, all the way trying to possibly make the playoffs again. And the Steelers are always in that vicinity of playoffs or 500 better with Mike Tomlin at the helm. That's a lot, because then they have to play a lot of games in a row with no breaks. Yeah. Where then some teams, I think the Jets have a game in international waters in England. They're going to play, and then the very next week they still have to play another game. So that's the other weird thing. Sometimes they make sure to build in a bye week after you play an international game because of the jet lag, so you can then relax and get back in the swing of things the following week. There's other teams that have to play another game the very next week. So I don't know if that's better, and then you hold your bye week a little longer. So the best way to get a bye week would be towards the middle of the season. So you're about halfway done. So you got banged up and there's injuries, but then you have time to recover. It does kind of stink if you have a bye week really early and then you have to play a bunch of games like a marathon and be able to survive that. So I don't know what's better, but I know eventually if they do the 18 games, they talked about doing 2 bye weeks. Yeah. And then especially with these international games, they're going to keep increasing. I believe they'll always will at least do that. Even if they don't have a team in England or in these other foreign countries, Germany, they will always make sure they're going to have more and more of these international games because they make a lot of money and they grow the game around the world. Yeah, that's another reason why to have a second bye week, along with eventually having an 18-game schedule.
Well, and the thing is, and when we look at like Jacksonville's schedule, who always goes overseas, Jacksonville playing in London all the time, well, their bye week, so if you look at them this year, they played 2 days before my birthday on Sunday, October 19th in London. And when they play that game, it's at 9:30 a.m. our time. And so it'll obviously be ahead of time there. So we look at that game on Sunday, October 19th in week 7. Then they have week 8 off. They have their bye week. Then they play 10 straight weeks to end the season. And after coming off of being in England and then having their bye week, after that bye week, they will play 4 out of 5 games on the road. So, I mean, we're talking about these schedules like, yeah, you got a bye week, but then, I mean, look at what you have. You got a bye week that leads into the fact that you're playing 4 out of 5 games on the road after that. And so you're away from home for week 7, you're off week 8, and then you're away from home week 9, week 10, then you're home for week 11, then you're on the road for week 12 and 13. So a Jacksonville Jaguar fan is not going to see their think about this. They're going to see their team on Sunday, October 12th, against Seattle in week 6, then they won't see them in week 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13. So we're talking about between Sunday, October 12th.
It's going to be almost December by the time they see them again.
So here's a crazy thing. They'll play at home Sunday, October 12th. The next game they play at home, the only one in between those 4 road games, is going to be against the Rams on Sunday, November 16th. So they will have over a month in between their home games. And so from Sunday, November 12th to Sunday, December 7th, they will only have 3 home games within the span of about 2 months.
Yeah, that's hectic, especially an organization that's trying to get their right foot in. Trevor Lawrence is trying to build it back up again after coming off the injury with the concussion late in the year. It's a young team. They got an exciting 2-way star like Travis Hunter, the Heisman Trophy winner, and you have a new head coach. The offense coordinator from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming to be the head coach for the Jaguars. It's a lot for a new system and put a new offensive system in place, and you're trying to get your foot in with a lot of young players, and then you're on the road a bunch. You have a lot of tough matchups after that bye week early, and it's going to be a tough gauntlet for them to run through and have any chance of making the playoffs. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's very hard to expect them to have a great season record-wise when you have to have all those adversities that you have to overcome, all those obstacles. It might be the typical 5-6 win season, which would be unfortunate because for a while the Jaguars looked like they were building, and they got to the second round of the playoffs just a couple of years ago before they lost to the Chiefs. Yeah. They really looked like they were, with Trevor Lawrence, the young stud quarterback, they were the team on the rise with Doug Peterson at the helmet head coach as a playoff team, and it's now taken a turn for the worse. Now they have a new coach. Hopefully he can build it back up again, but the Jaguars seem to have that unfortunate luck where they do well for a while. They're building with this good young team, and then somehow they plummet right back down to the bottom of the league. And now they have to climb back up again, push that rock up the hill. So it's going to be a tough season for them. It's going to be exciting to watch Travis Hunter out there. I'm more curious about Trevor Lawrence. How does he bounce back? Will he work well with this new offensive system with a new offensive-minded coach coming from Tampa? Can Trevor Lawrence come back and be the player we thought he would be? He showed some signs of it before, but then he's also regressed and had some bad signs between injury problems and just struggling on the field. And maybe it's also the cast of characters around him. Doesn't have as many good offensive weapons, but at a certain point, Trevor Lawrence needs to be able to shut up the critics and doubters, or else he's going to look kind of like a bust. So I still believe in Trevor Lawrence, but I'm curious to see what quarterback we're going to see this year. Can he stay healthy, and will he be productive, or else the Jaguars might think about moving off of him in another year or two?
Well, I think the biggest question is, can the offensive line stay healthy in front of him in order to provide him an opportunity? And keep in mind that he had 3 head coaches in 3 years. Yeah. So, I mean, that's something to look to as well, because Urban Meyer lasted as long as it lasted to have a dance at a bar that he was
he was ridiculous. He was accused of kicking his kicker. I don't know how you kick your kicker, who is trained professional to kick a ball, and you're allegedly kicking him.
Keep in mind, he was on my show, Josh Lambo, and I know Josh. And so, yeah, that's a very interesting situation. 15 games will be Super Bowl rematches. This is another note to make.
Week 2, Chiefs and Eagles, Week 2 on Fox in the 4:30 window in Kansas City. So it won't be in Philly, but that should be a heck of a matchup, a rematch. And we forgot to mention at the beginning, this year will be a milestone Super Bowl. Super Bowl 60 is this year, so that's another big one to look forward to, right around Valentine's Day. And I think in 2 years they said the Super Bowl is actually scheduled to be on Valentine's Day. So good luck, honey, because we're going to be watching the Super Bowl that day. Or there'll be people breaking up or sleeping on the couch, because the Super Bowl, you have some time to plan. In 2 years, I think in 2027, is going to be on Valentine's Day, scheduled already. So that's something to look forward to. But this year, Super Bowl 60, a big milestone Super Bowl.
Yeah, Super Bowl 60, which will have the Roman numeral LX. L is 50, X is 10. So we will have Super Bowl LX, which is exciting. I'm sad that we're well past Super Bowl XXX, but it'll be very fun to see what's going to happen.
That was your Cowboys. They beat the Steelers that year. I remember that in January '96. I still was in New York as a 10-year-old kid, but it was Steelers versus Cowboys, and that was the last Super Bowl of the Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin Smith run with Barry Switzer as the head coach, because Jerry Jones already threw out Jimmy Johnson, and Barry Switzer won a Super Bowl with them. Deion Sanders was on that team, and Neil O'Donnell was the stinky quarterback of the Steelers, who still made the Super Bowl with Bill Cowher, and he kept throwing interceptions to the Cowboys nonstop. He was really the MVP of that game, because Neil O'Donnell seemed like the Cowboys were his own team. He just kept throwing to the defensive backs. I don't know what he was doing, but that was when it was your XXX Super Bowl.
Yeah, and keep in mind the fact that that was the Super Bowl where I still remember to this day, Barry Switzer walked in front of the camera, and you see this guy, I think he was like a lineman, walk toward the camera and kind of look at Barry and then look around like, who is that guy? Because I feel like the team was like, oh yeah, we're still with Jimmy Johnson. We got Jimmy. We're doing this. And then they won the Super Bowl, and they went to pick up Jimmy, and they're like, who the hell is that guy? And after that season, no more wins for the Dallas Cowboys since then.
Well, they haven't even been to an NFC Championship game since then. I think the following year they lost in the second round to Carolina in the 96 season in January 97. They have not been in a conference championship game in 30 years. So, and then not won a Super Bowl, and they're a proud team that won 5 Super Bowls, and they're still have a lot of excitement for Dallas. And every year they're like, this is the year, this is the year. You hear Skip Bayless keep talking, drinking the Kool-Aid, they're going to do it. And they got George Pickens from the Steelers, who's a very talented receiver, big down the field threat, very big receiver, tall receiver who can leap up and catch over the small defensive backs. Yeah. But will he behave? Because a lot of times with the Steelers and Mike Tomlin, they let him get away with a lot of stuff. He was getting in trouble for doing like silly antics where it looked like he was doing like a toy gun with his finger when he'd make a catch. He would show up to things like he misbehaved a lot, and the Steelers finally got fed up with him, even though he had only 1 year left on his deal. Yeah. You would think the Steelers would have had him and DK Metcalf team up for at least 1 year, and the Steelers like, no, let's cut our losses. And apparently a lot of teams laughed at the Steelers, said, we don't want George Pickens, he's a headache. Jerry Jones has accepted it, and they also have Dak Prescott coming off injuries. Can he prove that he can be the quarterback that everyone hoped for when he got that massive contract just a little over a year ago?
Yeah, and the Cowboys love drama. That is something that we've seen over time. But George Pickens.
That's why I thought they were going to maybe draft, when he slipped in the draft, I thought they were going to draft Deion's son, Shedeur Sanders. And then there was rumors early in the offseason before they got Schottenheimer to be their head coach, when they got rid of Mike McCarthy. They're like, oh, maybe Deion Sanders with no NFL coaching experience because he's a big name.
And then trade up to get Shedeur Sanders. Yeah.
Yeah, that maybe that it was going to be a package deal. Deion was going to come to be the head coach. And maybe at some point that might happen. If Schottenheimer struggles, Jerry Jones might throw him overboard and bring on Deion. And then I really thought they were going to maybe draft Shedeur when he kept slipping in the draft all the way to the 5th round of the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, it's but some rumors are just stupid, and that was one that was very ridiculous. But here we are as we take it. Shedeur might still be a Cowboy wherever he ends up. Now, 15 games will be Super Bowl rematches. 12 games are rematches from the 2024 playoffs, so including Super Bowl LIX. The Eagles and the Chiefs will be in week 2, as Ross said. Both championship games, looking at the Chiefs and the Bills in week 9, and then the Eagles and the Commanders in week 16 and 18. Each of the 4 divisional playoff games. Baltimore, Buffalo will be in week 1, as we said. Rams and Philly in week 3. The Lions and the Commanders in week 10, and the Texans and the Chiefs in week 14. So a lot of rematches of the playoffs.
And the Bills typically, Josh Allen, the Bills get the upper hand. They beat the Chiefs in the regular season, but when it matters most in the playoffs, they still, whether it's ref help or not, they can't get over the hump and beat the Chiefs in a playoff game.
Like they're 4-1 in the regular season and 0-4 in the postseason against the Chiefs.
So it's like, when is the tide going to turn? When the Bills the last couple
years, when they stop playing each other in the regular season, that's when it's going to stop.
Yeah, because the Bills seem to have no problem beating the Chiefs in the regular season, where the games count, but when it matters most in the playoffs to go to the Super Bowl, especially in the AFC Championship game, they can't win. And Josh Allen is a hell of a quarterback, and he's well-deserved MVP. I want to at least get one Super Bowl before his prime is over. And I know a lot of people back in the basketball days when Jordan in the 90s were stifled because Jordan was going to not let anyone win a championship when he was, besides when he was playing baseball or retired, that no one could get through. Patrick Ewing and the Knicks had great teams. Reggie Miller and the Pacers had great teams. They couldn't get through because Michael Jordan and the Bulls were standing in their way. Karl Malone and John Stockton and the Jazz twice in the NBA Finals. Well, a lot of people are saying the same thing kind of with Pat Mahomes, where Josh Allen's great, Lamar Jackson's great. Yeah. A lot of these great quarterbacks, they can't seem to get over the hump because Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs are there in their way, and they can't knock over that obstacle. The one thing they will have is Buffalo Bill fans. They're going to have a Hallmark movie that my mom and my mother-in-law, who loves the Buffalo Bills, just like the Chiefs last year had a Hallmark movie, the Bills will have a Hallmark Christmas movie this November. So at least something to look forward to. One way, the Bills will at least top the Chiefs this year. They will have a Hallmark movie this year.
Yeah, well, that'll be interesting to see, but my best advice to the Bills is if you can only beat the Chiefs once a year, stop playing them in the regular season. So with that being said,
do it in January when it matters most.
Yeah, do it in January. Just that's because I feel like Andy Reid's sitting there going, yeah, we want to play them every year. Sure we will, NFL, because then we'll know exactly what their game plan is against us, and whether we win or lose, we'll be prepared for it the second time around. So, with that being said, Ross and I speaking on the 2025-26 NFL schedule, which really was the front to the fact that we were going to be attacking all the streaming services for overcharging you. We thank you for being here.
And don't charge us more if I want to share my password with Dan. Dan, I share lots of passwords with you, and some of them they won't let me share with you anymore. It's pissing me off.
I will neither
let me share with whoever I want.
I will neither confirm nor deny. All I can say is when we have Netflix stuff and people are like, and Netflix is like, you're not in the house household, I'm like, oh, I got you. And I go to the thing and I go, I'm traveling.
Yeah. How do they know it's not me or my family member? Yeah. You are part of, you're my brother. You're a part of my family in many ways. So I'm like, I want to be able to share that with you. I don't think I'm causing harm.
What if your brother was in Afghanistan? You can't share Netflix? Yeah. What if your sister was in the hospital having a baby and she's in labor and she's been laying there for 14 hours and Netflix isn't going to let her watch it there because you're watching it at home in Boston? Like, come on now. So
they want proof of your house address. You got to prove. It's like Little League World Series. They want to make sure you're not like lying about your age or where you're living, so you don't have a dominant team and win the whole thing and pretend you used to have like 16-year-old kids pretend they were 12-year-old Little League kids winning and dominating the World Series. They want to know your address. They were like, you got to prove it. No matter where you are, you could be having a baby, you could have your arm taken off. Doesn't matter. You have to prove your address so you can share your sites.
I am Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury. These are my words to Netflix. If you try to log me out, I'm always in. So with that being said, Ross Turetsky, myself, Dan Tortora, thank you for being with us on Wake Up Call inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Thank you to all of our wonderful partners, and thank you to Great Lakes Honda City for being our exclusive studio partner. As always, buddy, I love you. Love to you and the kids and your wife and the whole family. And we say it all the time, but we do need over the summer here to find some time and get to spend some time together as you are not coaching right now, finished up your season. I have a little more travel time, so we need to figure something out soon.
Absolutely. Have a great Memorial Day weekend. And Jamie, get to the chopper. It is not a tumor and things that nature. Hasta la vista, baby.
I want to thank you for tuning in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT for audio and video, and our live internet streaming radio that comes to you on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. And of course, once we go live, we jump into the archives, and you can find us on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. And many thanks to the wonderful Brooklyn Pickle in Southern Pines, North Carolina. From New York to North Carolina, you'll find them on 1788 Old Morganton Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina, right down the road from Pinehurst Golf Course that the PGA Tour knows all too well. That New York flavor, a sandwich, all of those great sandwiches, all the ingredients, all of the wonderful things we've been spoiled with in the great state of New York are down in North Carolina as the Brooklyn Pickle ventures down the coast to Southern Pines on 1788 Old Morganton Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina. Let them know that DT sent you. And of course, many thanks to our team of partners in Central and Upstate New York, Great Lakes Honda City, where you can go Monday through Saturday for sales and service and get yourself new and used vehicles. If you want to tour what they have on the lot, go to GreatLakesHondaCity.com. You also get the phone numbers there for their sales and service at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. And I want to thank Great Lakes Honda City for over a decade of me bringing home vehicles that I have enjoyed. So many thanks to Great Lakes Honda City, our exclusive studio partner. Carvel DeWitt, the exclusive home of the DT Dolphin. It's our ode to the Lemoyne College Dolphins. You will find our DT Dolphin Sunday on site, on location, down the road from Lemoyne College on 4322 East Genesee Street in DeWitt, New York. Carvel DeWitt, the longest standing franchise in America with the DT Dolphin exclusive. And that is mint chocolate chip, whipped cream, and a cherry, hot fudge, green and gold sprinkles, and a chocolate dolphin jumping out of your whipped cream. Get it 7 days a week, and on Wednesdays, buy one, get one. The Wildcat Sports Pub, where we proudly call home to our West Genesee shows of over 8 years. With the West Genesee Wildcats coaches and student athletes, as well as their families, you'll find us at the Wildcat Sports Pub on 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York. GG Cards and Breaks, your one-stop sports card and trading card shop. A place that helps you be a big kid, no matter what your age is. And you can celebrate it with your parents, your grandparents, your friends, your neighbors, your girlfriend, your boyfriend. GG Cards and Breaks is a place for everyone of all ages, because our kid spirit should always be vibrant and strong. GG Cards and Breaks, where you can find them Tuesday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6, Sundays from 10 to 5, And of course, 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse is the location. And monthly, we have Trade Night where you could buy, sell, and trade sports cards, as well as Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Magic the Gathering, and Disney Lorcana. Ma and Pa's, the snack capital of the world. You'll find Ma and Pa's on 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York, with multiple types of freeze-dried candy, as well as cotton candy, lemonade, and a plethora of flavors when it comes to kettle corn, popcorn, and premium corn like the Elvis, which is banana-covered popcorn with the peanut butter Reese's drizzle, the way that Elvis liked peanut butter and banana. All of the wonderful things that you see are made in-house at Mon-Pa's. The lemonade, the cotton candy, the freeze-dried candy, as well as the popcorn and kettle corn. Find it all on 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. And if you're out of town and you want to order it, and I just made your mouth water, go to Ma and Pa's popcorn.com and you can order today. Avicoli's, our home of our Liverpool athletic broadcast with student athletes, coaches, and administration every single month on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York, at the corner of Wetzel Road and Route 57. And if you stand on the corner, you can see Liverpool High School within walking distance of Avicoli's, open 7 days a week. As well as Servomation, reinvigorating, re-energizing, reimagining what it is to have vending, whether it be at your high school, your grammar school, your preschool, your college, university, place of business, rest stop, airport. Servomation, the technology they have, the assortment, the variety that they have, and the quality of food. I've toured their facility in upstate New York, and you wouldn't believe the kitchen. There's restaurants that would beg to have a kitchen like this. Servomation does it differently, and I'm very happy to say that we are partnered with them. SERVOMATION.com. Go there for more information. Mother's Cupboard, the home of my breakfast sandwich exclusively in Central New York, 3709 James Street in Syracuse, 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. You will find the Cuse McMother, bacon, egg, and cheese inside of 2 pieces of French toast. Cut it up and have it with some syrup. Pick it up and eat it like a sandwich and dip it in the syrup, and do it today. Chick-fil-A Cicero, the first Chick-fil-A in Central New York, and owner-operator Jim Rusakowski, a brother of mine. You don't want to miss out on Chick-fil-A, and Chick-fil-A Cicero specifically is a step above, in my opinion. There's people that are proud to see you, team members that are incredible. Chick-fil-A Cicero, they do it to the nth degree. They break the mold, and you can find those team members in our series, The Light Between Us, which airs every single month. Go to youtube.com/WakeUpCallDT and search the Light Between Us playlist. Canine Camp Dog Daycare. There's no better place to bring your dog out in East Syracuse. Daycare. Hey, we all got stuff going on, and sometimes we just have to drop our dog off so that our dog's not sitting at home in a kennel or just being at home by themselves. The daycare at Canine Camp Dog Daycare on 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse, across from BJ's, is the perfect place to go because of Lorraine, because of Chad, because of the care, concern, and the service to our wonderful animals. Head over there today, and of course you can call them at 315-437-7110 or go online to K-9KAMP.com. Pizza Man, who we absolutely love going every single month and having our Baldwinsville Bees broadcast at Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville, New York. You don't want to miss any of those shows we do on-site, on location, including Off the Rails with Al, featuring college football national champion Al Romano, who played with Tony Dorsett as a Pittsburgh Panther and hails from Solvay. A lot of great things we get to do at Pizza Man. Love the Bees and appreciate the support that you have for their student athletes, coaches, administration, and families. And Brian's Landing, a place that we love to go out to in Jamesville. Brian's Landing, the menu that they have is eclectic. There's nothing on that menu where you sit there and go, oh, okay, like this is what the menu is because these 5 things are alike. No, everything is different. Something for everyone. 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. The perfect place to go with a team, the perfect place to go with a friend, the perfect place to go on a date or bring mom and dad. Brian's Landing makes you feel like you're away from home on a vacation when you're just out in Jamesville by the water. Head to Bryan's Landing today. And of course, many thanks to the Lemoyne College Dolphins, Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse, and the Binghamton University Bearcats for being our exclusive multimedia marketing partners. Lemoyne, you will find Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Eastern Time during Dolphin Time. And of course, you'll find Binghamton on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Time during Bearcat Time. All of our teams are on youtube.com/WakeUpCallDT. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, find our Lemoyne playlist, our BSC Syracuse playlist, and our Binghamton playlist. You'll also find the Dolphins, the Bobcats, and the Bearcats by going to WakeUpCallDT.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to LeMoyneDolphins.com as well as Syracuse.bscbobcats.com and BinghamtonBearcats.com. For now, from the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, I say God bless, no stress, do your best. This is Wake Up Call. I'm Dan Tortora, and remember, God loves you.